Mic check, mic check. All right, so today we're gonna take a history lesson. This shit might get a little bit emotional, but at the end of the day, everything is gonna be worth it. So when I think back to my early days as a child, I remember the first form of music that I noticed or had paid attention to was hip hop. At the time, the hip hop song that I was hearing that came out the year I was born, which was on the radios all year and since then, was a song that stood out than it stood out more than any other song I was hearing at the time. Now, when I got a little bit older, when I was in my younger years of school, I remember the teachers would play me and my colleagues classical music, specifically Mozart, because there used to be a saying that Mozart makes you smarter, but really what it is the music itself is designed to be more of something you can play in the background while you do things and do chores. And through that relaxation, a lot of people can really activate their brains and get all their gears cranking. Now, when I was a child, I realized that these two forms of music were my favorite. And any chance that they merge, I usually try to check it out. So with that said, we're going to open up the screen so that we can look at a history on when classical music first began. So, hold up, let me fix my shit. So classical music, I was trying to find it. I don't know if this is accurate. I used to have a lot of classical vinyl records, and I think I gave a percentage of them away to a friend I haven't seen in years. But I still have some of them. But I do know that on the backs of them, I would sit and read them. And lots of times they would describe a play that took place in maybe 1800s. And it would basically go scene by scene, just description of what the night looked like the first time this play premiered and wherever it premiered, wherever these records are coming from, classical. So it says that the classical period of music began around 1750 and lasted until about 1820. It was a time when music became characterized by clarity, balance, and simplicity, and composers like Haydn, Mozart, and Beethoven were at the forefront. Beethoven being my favorite. To a lot of people, classical music sounds the same, but Beethoven, it sounds like it has more force to it, if that makes sense. To me, it sounds like he's really playing the instruments as if he has just a little bit of, I don't know, I feel like I'm going to war whenever I hear Beethoven, and that's not to make his music sound like it's dark and evil or nothing like that, but I feel like, I don't know, I feel something whenever I hear his music. Here are some other notable features of the classical period. The harpsichord and organ were no longer the foundation of orchestras, and wind instruments like the clarinet, trumpet, and flute joined the strings. The orchestral setup led to the invention of the symphony, which became the era's most important type of music. Yeah, a lot of the vinyls that I have that are classical music are usually symphonies and string quartets. Another form of music that was invented during the classical period is the string quartet. The piano was also invented during the classical period. That makes sense. So it's not just the form of music that was made during that period, it's the instruments that accompany it that were also being crafted during that period. Baroque music, I gotta look that up. So one of the instruments that doesn't get mentioned is the violin. The violin is often used in classical music now, not just that, but at orchestras. My younger sister, she plays in an orchestra. Salute to her. These these are some of the most complex organizations that people really don't understand. It's a large assembly of people in different categories with different instruments all playing a composing, meaning that each of you are assigned a part and you have to be on point with that part. And also, all it takes is just 1 second to mess something up. Let's say the other part of the orchestra that's playing the horn, they're about to finish. You know that your part's coming up, and at that moment, your microphone stand or some stand falls over. Do you pick it up and fix it, or do you stay and and be on point with your part? These are all things that a lot of people don't take into consideration, that a lot of these musicians are dealing with. It's real easy to miss your part. It's real easy. Maybe your strings aren't tuned the right way. Maybe you had them tuned the right way and someone borrowed your violin. It's not tuned the right way anymore. There's all kinds of things that come into play. So classical music, not just that, but its instruments are not easy to play. Now, anyone who's familiar with my music knows that I have a couple different styles, but on my album, if anyone has listened to What's Up of the Poison Apple on my website, it's about to be finished at the beginning of next year, but the beat selection that I have for that album is a little bit more musical, and little pieces of ideas are taken from classical music. So now that we've spoken about classical music, we're going to speak about Mobb Deep. Mobb Deep are from Queens, New York, the same area as Nas, another hip hop legend, R.I.P. Prodigy. Havoc is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated hip hop producers ever. Mobb Deep, they have a song that came out in the early 2000s called Got It. I think it's called Got It Twisted. If you know where that sample is from, then you automatically realize that Havoc is one of the best producers ever to walk this earth, ever. That song alone really changed. I mean, that song came out before I started producing, but that single song changed my whole idea of how I look at production and sample production. If you understand or remember when that song came out, here's my point of view. When that song had come out, I remember thinking, yo, this is the hottest song as of right now, and possibly within the last decade. This is so hard. This beat is so crazy. The song itself is dope as fuck. Maybe 10 years later, I'm working at a specific place that plays the same fucking music over and over and over, the same playlist over and over and over. And I hear this one song come on as I'm pushing a shopping cart full of groceries, and I completely stop in the middle of the aisle, frozen, unable to move, even a fucking hair on my arm, realizing that this random ass song they're playing in this grocery store I work at is the fucking song where the sample for Got It Twisted came from. Holy shit, I lost my fucking mind in the middle of aisle 7. Nigga, when I tell you that Havoc is one of the best hip hop producers ever, you better understand that shit. This nigga Havoc, R.I.P. Prodigy. Havoc is so deep in the game. He linked up with Styles P to do an album. And I forgot what they called it, but I was like, yo, I gotta listen to this. And that's probably gonna be a future album review as well. But Styles P of the Lox, shout out to him. Not that long after the Lox versus Dipset battle, I remember Havoc and Styles P doing an interview, and they were talking about an album that they were doing. And I gotta look it up because I slept on it. I gotta go look that up. But either way, Havoc, he's been heavy lately. He's been doing a couple things with Flea Lord Conway that I've been catching. Even working with Lloyd Banks. He's been doing it straight up. This is a dude that ain't slept. Like, even after losses and tragedy and shit that a lot of people can't deal with, he's still up in here doing classics. Now, we get to the point of this video. So, I just mentioned classics. If you aren't familiar with Joana Montana, let's get you familiar. And I'm going to link this video and the next one that I play in the description so that you guys could check her out yourself. Joana Montana is a woman who I follow on Instagram, and I think I remember how I followed her. There is another hip hop news outlet slash DJ slash woman that I follow on Instagram, and shout outs to her. Her DJ name is Vanilla Ice. I believe that she's from Germany, but she covers a lot of hip hop and underground hip hop things, stories, moments. Maybe something happened at a specific show and she'll point it out and I'll see it in the morning. But big shout outs to her, because I believe that she put me on to this person. I might be wrong about this, but this is how my memory remembers it. And then also I want to say shout outs to her and Joana Montana for both being Caucasian women accepted in hip hop. Accepted being the most important word out of the whole thing, because each of them are accepted in hip hop because they have walked specific lengths that no one else is willing to walk. They've each carried themselves and also got their positions based off talent and dedication and also interest in the arts. They're not doing Brandon Buckingham shit. So I'm gonna play this video and I'm gonna try not to cry, because this is one of my favorite instruments covering one of my favorite hip hop beats slash classics ever. This is one of the best beats I've heard in hip hop ever. If you know this title, you already know. And another thing I want to say too is when she does this violin cover, this is more than a cover. Her violin is doing its own thing. So whenever you do watch her videos, which trust me, she has a lot of them. A lot of your favorite fucking songs are on there. And a lot of the songs from recent albums that you didn't expect to be on there are on there. And like I said, I'm going to say it again. Her violin is doing its own thing. It's not following the beat. Sometimes it does, but in these two, it's doing its own thing. So without further ado, this is Joana Montana doing what she does best, which is violin covers in a creative way over masterful production. Shout outs to Joana Montana, one of the best violinists I've ever heard in my entire life. Gets me more and more interested in what I'm doing every time I hear her. Her violin work is so strong that it brings tears to my eyes sometimes. One of the best hip hop beats ever made. Ever. It's that shit. It's crazy because this shit's back in the day. This is some shit that had Lil Kim on it.
It's the real hip-hop.
And they got Prodigy. R.I.P. Prodigy. Prodigy, the only rapper in hip-hop history to drop a fucking jail cookbook. Shout outs to Prodigy, R.I.P. And that's what I wanted to highlight. Is more than her playing the violin. It's the whole imagery, the where the scene is captured. All that stuff plays an important role, because there's a song in particular, I can't remember. Oh, yeah. So there's a song in particular that she covers, and in the original music video, it's all black and white. So as she's doing the cover, they also had her video all black and white. It's stuff like that. Like, you've got to be dedicated to the arts to be that level of creative. And even with this too, like, I can't remember the music video for this song, but I know that this area where she shot this, it all works together fantastic. It gives you that image of the original song, and that shit to me is dope as hell. And at the same time, she's killing it on this violin. Like, this is crazy. So as you can see, it's a long list of songs. I'm just gonna quickly scroll through it, but yeah, I know Benny the Butcher, Rubber Bands and Weight is on there, bruh. You gotta listen to her do Rubber Bands and Weight. This shit is crazy. Y'all need to hop on this shit immediately. Get her subscribes up, get her likes up and all that. Like, Like this shit that she doing is not easy. This is not some easy shit, and it's dope, and it's dope as hell and creative how she does it too. So a lot of y'all ain't ready for this one. I'm just gonna do this one and I'm gonna cut it. But this Shook Ones Part 2 is another one of my favorite Mobb Deep beats. Everyone knows what this is. Everyone already knows. Damn. Man, I can't even do this shit. This is crazy. You know what? I don't think she's from the States. This whole time I thought she was from the States, but I think she's overseas. But either way, it makes more sense because over there, that's where all the graffiti is. That's where all the fans like really respect this kind of hip hop. But it's dope as fuck to see this shit. I'm not even front. Like, I really want people to go check her out and go find her page, subscribe, and all that. All that. This is not the first time we're gonna cover her in the future. Shit, if I ever can, I would love to interview her. Like, it's not even easy to make it through these, especially if it's beats that's from one of your favorite hip hop groups and one of their members passed away, just health issues. It's real sad. There's a lot of sadness within this, but at the same time there's a lot of light. I'm really hoping that people see this and understand that there's people out there that really love this shit and is doing stuff with it that should be covered. But instead, the media outlets that's out here in LA is instead interviewing prostitutes. So what do you know? All right, we out.